Our neighbor consistently left his window open, inviting us to witness a mething, unexpected duda, genuine tale of betrayal. Sister and I have been observing thesum pattern and it's been hard to ignore. Every woman who came by our neighbor seemed to leave. In a state of utter bewilderment, we found ourselves with questions. We took the step to introduce ourselves. The moment he opened the door, it was clear he had been expecting us. Before we dive in, if you'll find yourself coming back for these tales and appreciate them, I kindly ask you to take a moment to like and subscribe. Your support means the world to me, and I genuinely value it. I appreciate your presence. I'm here to listen. It was late, and just as I was about to ascend the stairs, something drew my attention. Through the front window just across the street, his bedroom light flickered to life, revealing that he had company. I paused, me hand resting on the banister. Caught in a moment of reflection, a woman lingered by the window, her attire slipping away, revealing her vulnerability. Her dress slipped off her shoulders, as if it were a familiar ritual, one that had unfolded countless times before she leaned into him, her hands resting on his chest, while her own there composed and unhurried, as if time itself was at his command. My dear Claire, I reached out, my voice barely above a whisper yet filled with urgency. This is something you really should take a look at. She entered, a blanket draped around her shoulders, hair tousled from a cozy time on the couch. What is it that troubles you? I gestured without looking back. He's doing it once more. She let out a heavy breath. Ava, please, let's talk about this. I need you to really pay attention to this. She broached me, uncertainty in her eyes. She cast her gaze out the window. A look of surprise crossed her face through the glass. We were privy to ital. She found herself cornered, his hand firmly placed next to her head. He leaned in closer, his voice barely above a murmur. Sharing a secret meant only for me years. She chuckled softly, but then full silent as he gently raised her thigh, drawing her nearer. Claire stifled a gasp, her hand instinctively rising to her lips. This isn't something we should be engaging with, and yet, I remarked with a smile. We lingered, there still and close to the window, like young lovers caught in a moment, peering into a world we're meant to avoid. He moved with a deliberate slowness, as if this was a familiar ritual he had performed countless times before. Her reactions had been predictable to him. She held on to him tightly, her head tilting back, her legs trembling. Even before she took a step, as he turned her around, she grasped the window frame, as if it were her signature. In that moment, Claire moved audaciously. Is that the same girl from last week then? No, I said. Well, that's certainly something different. 5th U. Perhaps the 6th this month. Claire shook her head, yet her gaze remained fixed on the window. That's truly unbelievable. I confided in you, he whispered. They arrive with an air of confidence, laughter dancing on their lips, engaging in playful banter only. Toed apart with a look that suggests they've experienced something profoundly unforged. Observed her tighten once more, her mouth fell open, jaw relaxed, eyes blinking rapidly. He hardly shifted, yet whatever he was engaged in had her clinging on as if every part of her being was responding to it. Claire averted, her gaze visibly flustered. All right, I think we've reached a limit here. I remained still. I know you must have some curiosity lingering within you. She settled onto the armrest, gripping her blanket with a sense of urgency. Well, I have to admit there's something quite remarkable about him in a way. I responded. That man is an enigma. In his mid-50s, hardly speaks, never boasts, yet how every woman in this neighborhood murs from his home, as if they've just awoken from a beautiful dream. Clara hesitated, her teeth grazing her lip in amement of uncertainty. I smiled. I really want to understand what that's like, she said with a nervous laugh. I can't believe you're actually saying that. Oh, I assure you, I'm quite serious. Not tonight, I confessed, but tomorrow. I'm thinking about heading over, maybe saying hello, introducing myself. What are you planning to do? Approach his door and request a sample, perhaps? I'll just ask to borrow some sugar, I remarked with a smile. Perhaps you could offer to assist them with any heavy items. He might be struggling with it, is what it is. It functions as intended. Claire stood there, blanket held close as if from its embrace. It seems you've less touch with reality. I understand, I acknowledged, but let's be honest, you're curious as well. She remained silent, bracket closer around herself, and averting her gaze. That following morning, I found myself unable shake off a single thought. That Lingard. In my mind, I felt no remorse for indulging in the act. Off watching, my curiosity only deepened. What was it about him that left every woman utterly unsettled? Claire, however, Meadow, carry on as if last night hadn't left a mark on her memory as well. There she was, still in her pajamas, nestled on the couch with a bowl of cereal, as if the world around her had remained untouched by chaos. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed, taking it all in, so I mentioned neat, a relaxed manner. I believe this is the right moment. She kept her gaze down, avoiding any connection. What exactly is a good time for? Do you want to share something with Mesh? let out a heavy sigh, preparing Hurst for what was to come. Are you truly serious about this? Absolutely. Avash sighed heavily. It's not right, Toproach. Someone's home simply Bekosu. We're drawn to what you glimpsed from outside. To begin with, I said as I reached for my keys, it's not merely about what I witnessed, it's about everything I've experienced over and over again. Always, and last night, that was the final straw. Claire enveloped herself in the blanket, seeking solace in its warmth. I've made up my mind, I'm not going. You really don't need to feel pressured to do anything. I assured them simply, walk alongside me please. Support him, perhaps I could say I'm just borrowing something. She cautiously glanced outside. What is it that Makasu want me to be a part of this? As I approached, I simply stated, Ulather, guide me away from making Ericla's choice, or you'll push. Meta words, a foolish decision perhaps. I replied with a smile, regardless of the outcome, I believe it will bring some enjoyment. She rolled her eyes, yet I sensed she was beginning to relent, as stood their arms crossed tightly. I offered her a hoodie. Moments later, we found ourselves making our way across Street. My heart raced with a heavy beat. It's not nerves that I feel, but rather a sense of anticipation. Claire lingered just a step behind. Throughout the journey I knocked. One seat's door slowly creaked open, as if Eth had been waiting for this moment. He stood there, his feet bare against the cool floor, shirt only partially fastened, hair still glistening from the recensure, and the way he gazed upon us, it felt as though he had an innate understanding of our very essence. I've been thinking about when our paths would finally cross. He gazed at us as if he possessed an understanding that transcended words. What brought us to that place? I noticed how his eyes shifted, and it didn't escape me. Only this one time, from my heart to Claire Anthon. Once more we return at peace, thoughtful, as if he had been anticipating this moment. Hey, I said, trying to keep my tone easygoing. I apologize for arriving unannounced. Wooer out for a walk, and thought it would have been nice to say hello. Claire lingered just behind me, her arms crossed and her hoodie drawn tightly, as if she wished to vanish from sight. He gave a single nod. It's good to see you here, Ava, and Claire mentioned, just over there on the other side of the street. I understand. He's spoken nothing more than that, nothing else to share. Yet there seems to be an obstacle in the path. He expressed that it wasn't mistakenly clear. He saw right through her excuse. He really didn't have to. He moved to the side. We stepped inside. The exuded warmth and tranquility, bathed in gentle light and carrying the subtle aroma of coffee. Soft melodies drifted through the air, creating an atmosphere of reflection. Take your time feeling down. It felt as if it had been going on for hours. On the counter, 2 glasses. Sit quietly. One already brimming with anticipation. He lifted my eyebrow in curiosity. Are you waiting for someone special? He simply replied, not really. I had a thought that perhaps someone might join. I cast a glance at Claire. She acted as if she were oblivious. He offered me the glass, a silent invitation to share in the moment. I embraced it without a second thought. Claire lingered by Theodore, uncertainty etched on her face, her silence palpable. You're not quite what I had imagined, I confessed, taking a small sip. I couldn't help but smirk as a sighed. Neither are you. So what came to your mind? His tone remained the Samathos who observe so intently often find themselves unable to meet your gaze. The following day Claire recoiled slightly. I didn't do that. You witnessed our moment. It's a window, he said, not just a reflection of what you want to see. I called softly, a sound both subtle and piercing. That's understandable. He sang canto, the edge of the couch, as if it wereth most natural thing in the world. His arms casually draped over his. Claire remained in her place, unmoving. You can go any time, he said softly, his gaze resting on her. Take your time. She remained silent. She remained in her spot, her gaze darting back and forth between us. I rested against the back of the couch, looking at him. It seems you encounter a fair share of insincerifications at your doorstep, he gazetted me with a serene smile, exuding confidence and tranquility. The window remains open for a purpose. You see, I stood my ground. I drew nearer. I found solace in his presence. One leg comfortably draped over his lap, my fingers gently resting on his shoulder. He remained still, his hand rested on Mithy, as if it were always meant to bear. Claire's voice pierced the stillness. Are you really going through with this? I glanced at her, lingering by the door. A moment suspended in time. It seems as though you feel I forced you into this situation. It seems you did. In a way. Then go, I said with a quit yourself or remain, and acknowledge that your presence isn't solely for my sake. She gently shook her head, a sudden expression of her thoughts. He's Sumiyonu. Don't know Ava. He's the kind of man who has every woman in this neighborhood porting to his place as if time slip it away from them, just like the one we saw last night. He lifted an eyebrow, just a touch. I do my best to ensure they remember me. Claire recoiled slightly at that, yet her gaze remained fixed on Hisi. Rose gradually approached her and gently grasped her hand. She stood still, caught in the moment, her pulse quickened. My touch, there's no need for Uto. Take any action, I murmured softly, but be honest with yourself as well then. I led her onward, each step deliberate to bring her face to face with him. He gazed at her, composed and unwavering, amnesty in his eyes. Before leaning in Tokus, her Claire exhaled unsteadily as his lips met hers, yet, after a fleeting moment, she withdrew, her face turned a deep shade of red. I acted without a moment's doubt. I entered, moving past Herond, kissed him with all my heart. Let's be clear. No room for uncertainty. Keep going without stopping. I expressed my desires clearly. His hands found their way to my hips, firm and intentional, as I reclined. A heavy silence enveloped us, and words eluded both of us. I grasped at the edge of my dress, and he followed my lead. We slipped out of them, as if it were a familiar act, one we had shared bare with another. Then I drew near, my hands remaining gently upon him. His breath changed. I observed closely, noting each subtle shift in his body, the way his shoulders clenched and how his grip tightened just a bit against the cushion. He longed to experience all the emotions kept hidden away. Something shifted behind me. He gazed beyond me and extended his hand. Claire lingered, clutching her dress as if it were a barrier, caught in the tension, off deciding whether to move closer or retreat entirely. He remained silent, merely offering a nod. Claire approached us, her movements deliberate and careful, yet she showed no signs of resistance. He pressed his lips to hers, once more, a gentle and tender in his approach. Shormond closed, his hand found its way behind her neck, offering a sense of stability, while his other hand gently guided the dress down from her shoulders. It fell silently, and her breath trailed bended. I continued on, surrendering to the flow that carried me forward. Claire settled beside me on the floor, her uncertainty lingering in the air, until gently caressed her cheek, leading her with a soothing assurance. Our hands touched for a fleeting moment, each of us united in a shared intention. She moved with a certain hesitation, yet with each step her confidence began to blossom. Ashy's head tilted back just a bit. I sensed that we were moving forward. Then He spoke, his voice calm and unwavering. Stood together, both of us united in thought. Moment, he sank deeper into the couch, his arms sprawled out comfortably. Found my way onto the cushions, positioning myself carefully and adjusted until I was perfectly aligned with my desires. As his lips brushed my skin, I felt my grip grow firmer. His movements carried a purpose, each one intentional and measured, as if time itself had no hold on him, showcasing an endless mastery. I leaned me head back, inhaling deeply. Claire lowered herself once more, and I found Magazi drifting down as she continued from where I had paused. Her hands began to move, with assurance gaining confidence. I offered my gentle guidance, wedger needs side by side, united in our intentions. He remained steadfast in his focus, each movement layered upon the previous one, creating ripples that coursed through my legs, constrict injury. Part of me, my balance faltered, yet he found myself wishing he would continue in it when he was so near to unraveling. Then Claire took a deep breath, here out to her, gently urging her to rise. She rose and allowed him to pull her into his embrace. His hands gently found their place at her waist, offering a sense of calm and support. I took a step back, gently gliding my hand along her spine as she positioned herself above him. She surrendered to the moment, allowing gravity to take over. She moved gently, making subtle adjustments with every movement. His hands were there for her, one gently at her back, the other steadying her hips. Her breath became unsteady, her gaze fixed intently on him. She leaned in, her hands firmly gripping his shoulders as her movements became more assertive. In that moment, her body became rigid. She leaned into him, her body curving in a way that revealed all we sought to understand. To understand, she remained silent. She felt no obligation to do so. He embraced her for a moment more, then lifted her gently in his arms and transported her to the cushions, laying her down with tenderness. Then he faced me. I found myself preparate away, my breath coming in shallow gasps. He moved in close, his hands finding their place, leading us into a seamless flow that felt instinctive and undeniable. His hands moved with confidence, and his stride was both steady and resolute. Claire rested closely by, her gaze drifting through half-lidded eyes, still savoring the remnants of her breath. I offered her a smile, then through it all changed. I let out a sharp breath, clutching the couch for support. Each moment drew me further into its depths. He understood the path to take, how to keep me teetering on the brink. When he positioned himself perfectly, my back curved, and an overwhelming rush coursed through me. It struck swiftly and decisively. If Urbano within me, I leaned in, my eyes closed, clinging to the rhythm he maintained with unwavering steadiness. Yet he pressed on without hesitation. Huas, merely beginning his journey, had turned to Claire, tenderly lifting Heron's more and laying her down gently. Shudderedly had a moment to herself before Huas by her side, his movements filled with a heightened sense of urgency. Icknelt beside them, gently wiping away the remnants of their sorrow. The perspiration from her forehead gently glides down, leaving soft touches on his shoulder and chest. Claire's hand reached out. Seeking mine, I clutched it closely, joined him once more, and this time with a sense of urgency. Her body welcomed him, instinctively rising to meet his presence. She held on to the cushions tightly, her breath changed, her reaction intensified with every passing minute. Escalating relentless eye observed her intently, filled with wonder, hepressed on unwavering intense, as if fueled by an unending spirit. His stamina didn't merely impress, it left one in a weight, seemed as though he could continue endlessly, and a part of me truly thought might finally. He released a soft sigh against her neck as he reached his limit. Claire remained utterly motionless, her chest rising and falling with each labored breath. I nestled close to them gently, pushing aside the strands of hair from her forehead, feeling a lingering energy coursing through me. Then I leaned in a bit closer, and whispered with a knowing smile, "Do you still believe it was a mistake? Before you go, I must ask, if two sisters appeared at your doorstep, what would your response have been? Please share your truth with me. Feel free to share your thoughts and comments. I'm eager to hear from you. ASIU, take a moment to reflect, consider liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications to stay connected with what's coming next. I appreciate y'all taking the time to watch.